fitness, you can really elevate so many other things than just your physical appearance. You're going to elevate things with your relationship, maybe getting a more beautiful woman. You might get a woman that's more for you instead of for her. There's just so many different things. Also with your job, you might get that next position or that promotion just because people say, damn, that guy really cares about his life. He's like on point. And that's all those things that business owners are looking for. They're trying to watch those things that you don't really think they're watching, but how you carry yourself is such a big thing. And when you care about yourself, people are going to care about you.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to RealTalks podcast. I got my homie Devin here. He is living in Washington, but one of the amazing thing that he's doing is he's in fitness and coaching, and just kind of want to highlight what he does. And so, essentially, Devin is the founder and currently the CEO of Legion of Gains. And Devin, what's up, bro? How you doing?
What's going on, man? Like I said, thanks for having me on the podcast. Been
Yeah,
looking forward
man.
to it. A lot of the stuff we do kind of goes hand in hand, so I think this will be a great
Right.
podcast to have, and I appreciate you letting me jump on here and tell my journey.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I've been very impressed, with the things that you're doing out there. You and I connected through social media and built
Yeah.
a connection, a friendship from there. And, here we are recording a podcast that's going to help others as well. And specifically, you're in the health and wellness fitness space. But
Yeah.
tell me the journey, in regards to just that world that you're in. Have you always been fit growing up? And if not, like what switched, what change sparked, with what you're doing that put you in there?
Yeah, it's crazy because just a couple years ago, I was the guy that was eating a bunch of Skittles and M&Ms before I went to bed. And I think a
Bro,
lot of them from not having a good I had a good childhood, but I didn't have a lot of good guidance after 18 years old. It was kind of like
I
you're out
see.
there, you better figure it out. And
Right.
so, I didn't even know how to cook for myself. It
Oh
sounds
man.
way,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I always had girlfriends that cooked for me. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of, I found what made me tick was, all these new things, like just like you were saying about me and you, there's all these new avenues now with the
Right.
internet, and we can reach so much further now with, what the things that we want to tell and be able to motivate people, right? And so you just got to
Yeah.
use the tools that are out there, and you can open so many doors up. Like I would have never met you, but because of social media,
Exactly.
influencers, all this stuff going on with fitness, it's a great thing for everybody, so you just gotta, I just seen everything on the market that was happening, how people were
Yeah.
positive, good vibes, and I had to be a part of it. So that's why I started Legion of Gains, because I feel like Washington can kind of be, one of those states that you can kind of get, depressed and drowned down
Yeah.
just because of all the rain. We don't have the sun
Hmm.
like Cali or Florida or
Right.
all these states. So if I can do one thing, which is motivate people to stay in their fitness, that's what I want to do. And I feel like that's what's, internally telling me, to do. So that's why I'm here and trying to spread the word.
No, that's really, really cool, man. And for me, obviously, like my best state, when this is my state of mind is when
Mm-hmm.
I was consistently hitting up the gym, eating right, and all that stuff. And it's just like it's a different feeling when you're in shape, you're healthy, your mind is correct. You know what I mean? All of
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
stuff. Uh, for people that have suffering with mental health, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like like fitness is going to help you get out of that funk. And
Right. Right.
I know this, personally, as I gone through some mental health issues years ago, and I was like, all right, well, I can't just
We
bottle
all,
this all in.
man.
Yeah, and I just can't, not do anything about it, right? And
Right.
so I started going to the gym, and then from there, I started feeling good,
Right.
confident again, and just
Yep.
the whole nine is the whole process. But for you, bro, I saw some of your pictures, your before and after, man. you
Yeah.
you had a great transformation.
Yeah.
But you tell us, for the people that are watching and listening to the show, like what was that journey like for you, and what was it that really told you to say, all right, I have to make a change in my diet or the way I eat or in my fitness journey? Like, tell
Well,
us. Yeah, it's
with, I
process.
mean, it sounds like you have a little experience. Maybe you sold cars before, but men deal with a lot of stress. There's a lot
Right.
of things thrown our way, and sometimes you get in that dark space. You feel like you're not
Yeah.
enough, right? So
Oh
when
yeah.
you're competing with other people, believe it or not, I mean, that's what life is. We're competing with other people to get a higher income, and a better lifestyle, right? And so
Yeah.
that puts you in a spot. You can be a guy that's going to let everybody kind of push you down and push you off to the side, or you can be a guy that builds that thick skin and puts yourself up front. And unfortunately, that's how life is. And I'm one of those people. If I'm eating, I want everybody to eat, right? But
Same.
this world
Yeah.
is not like that. Not everybody's going to eat together. So
Right.
what kind of made me tick is, to be honest, I had a guy take one of my positions at work. I got
Yeah.
to a sales manager's position, and he left, and he came back all big, swole, and everybody was running around grabbing his arms and saying, "Man, you look great. You're jacked. You're this.
Yeah.
You're that." And nobody was focused on me. Nobody was focused on the fact that I lost, my income, my job. And so,
Mm.
I was just like, enough's enough. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
that was the turning point for me, that I said, look, I'm never gonna lose a position, because I had the grit, I had the skills, I had everything, the loyalty to the company, to
Yeah.
get to where I was at. But the one thing I didn't have was the physical appearance that made the owners trust and be
Yeah.
confident in what I could do, right? And so I was just like, enough's enough, man. I'm never gonna lose a job again because I'm not well fit. And the thing is
Mm.
that it sucks that is how life is. But people do look at the cover of the book and kind of judge it right away.
It's
And
true.
with fitness, I've seen, like, even nowadays, right? I'm not the top guy at my job, but I've learned how to put myself in a spot where I'm confident in my fitness. I'm confident in my looks. I'm
Yep.
confident in the money that I'm making, and that I have everything lined out, because I've spent so much time trying to organize myself and organize my life. That I don't want to fall short again, and I don't really care to be number one at that dealership. I care
Mm.
about having a good home life, a good relationship with my woman, and I know at the end of the day, money's not everything. It's not the root
Yeah.
to have happiness. So at the end of the day, we can all be sitting in a room, and this guy could be making more money than me. This guy could be making me a little bit more than me. I'm not focused on that. What I'm focused on is the full package. I'm
Love it.
focused on a happy home life, coming home, having a great relationship with my girl, making sure, the bills are paid. I still make great money, compared to a lot of people out there. So there's just a lot of things that it shifts your thinking a lot when you can go to the gym and
Yeah.
use the outlet to really get off all that negativity, all those bad thoughts. You have to clear the noise. There's
Right.
a lot of outside chatter, but at the end of the day, fitness teaches you how to create a schedule and stick to it, right? A lot of people say fitness is this, that. I think really what it comes down to, the real nuts and bolts of it, is how to create a schedule. You can work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you create some type of pattern that works for you, and you learn how to
Yep.
stick with it. And same thing with your daily and weekly schedule. You then start tapping into that. Okay, how can I set my week up to be able to maximize everything I need to do? And so at the end of your week on a Sunday, you can actually sit back and really enjoy the day and have the real life, which is not living in stress, right? And so that's
Absolutely.
the craziest thing about fitness, is it really helps you alleviate a lot of the toxicity that life will
Right.
bring towards you. So
Absolutely agree with that, man. And you mentioned you still had are you still in the car industry today,
yeah,
or okay?
yeah, I'm
So
still
you
doing car
basically have
sales,
both.
and I do this. Yeah, I got both of them going on. So
That's real cool, man. So how for Legion of Gains, man? Like, how long have you been in operation, man?
okay, so I mean, we've been operating for the last 6 to 7 months aggressively. Like, as far
Nice.
as like putting content out, actually having a media guy on staff, working on growing my Instagram and all that.
Yeah,
It is about 6 to 7 months. But
that's
as far as
cool.
my fitness journey, it's been about three years of growing in it and wanting more, and seeking out more training. That really got me into all this other stuff, which I didn't even think, a couple years ago I'd be doing stuff like this, or
Yeah.
people even caring to hear my story.
But I mean that's amazing, bro. Not excuse me. Not many people would take a risk by investing in like a fitness business, right? Because
Yeah.
people will say, oh, it's already diluted to so many, already like fitness gyms and so on and so forth. But yours is, a bit different. Whereas
Mhm.
the style of your fitness program is it mostly boot camp related type of workouts,
Mhm.
or could you tell us like what the process is?
So right now I've been working on, a fitness app that gives people an outlet to keep motivated. I think one of the biggest things is we go off in the day and there's so many things that get thrown your way that you don't
Yeah,
keep on track. And what this app does is help you keep focused on, different things popping up on your phone. Hey, make sure you work out. Hey, make sure, you
yeah,
have this coming up, and it helps you pre-think about this stuff. So it isn't like it's not just catching you off guard, I guess.
yeah,
And so that's what I've been really working on. I've done a lot of one-on-one training with people. When you first starting out, you kind of just work with anybody that will give you the opportunity, so you can learn how to motivate and instill um, that drive to push past pain, right? Because a lot of this stuff you get in the gym, you start doing
yeah,
legs, you're like, oh shit, this is hurting, and then you want to stop. But it's like being able to push past that is the biggest thing you have to teach people. And a lot of the
yeah,
times, your body can do a lot more than what you think it can do.
yeah.
So it's really just learning that. And so that's what I'm working on now. The next chapter of my journey, is my stuff isn't about the money. My stuff is
Right.
about, regardless if I was going to be doing this or not, I would still be doing the fitness journey. I would still be telling friends and family about all the things that fitness has done for me to change my
Yeah,
life, as far as relationships, financial, like all these different things, my confidence. And so what I'm going to be working on next is really working with younger kids, through a lot of all
ooh,
my conversations, is
I
that
love
a lot of
that
people, 30, 40 years old, it's hard to get them committed. There's so many bad habits that are created throughout
already.
the years. They can't really work past it. It's hard. Like the old saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. And I kind of was working with a lot of people, and I just seemed like a lot of it was not what I really wanted to do, right? I really want to, my whole thing is I didn't have a dad growing up, and he wasn't really there to teach me, hey, don't do this, stay out of the bars, stop drinking, don't
Yeah,
smoke weed, all those things. And that is very common for a lot of guys out there, right? We don't even know how
same.
to ask. Yeah,
Yep.
we don't even know how to ask for help. And I think that's the biggest thing, like with the social media stuff, is now there's all this help out there, and people are just not used to asking other men for help, right? When we go to the
Yep.
gym, you could buy a trainer or just ask a guy, hey, how do you do this? And a lot of these guys go in there, they don't want to work out with other people, they want to do their workouts by themselves. And that's not that's not how I've found that you can drive your fitness forward. To get the
Mm,
results, to feel great in fitness, you have to work out with people that are going to teach you the techniques. And once
right.
you see those gains, you're going to sit back and be like, damn, I want to keep this going, right? And so
Right.
that's what motivates me, is seeing, the shoulders getting bigger, seeing the back grow to be a big back. And a lot of those things are what's going to give you the confidence. Once you have the confidence, then you stop letting different relationships, with people, either men or women, pull you
Yep.
in directions that is not the direction you want to go. And that's keeping to the schedule, right? And so that's why I'm trying to shoot for younger people, because I feel like there's that gap between 18 and about 30, that you make a lot of bad decisions that are life changing decisions, either
True.
having kids with the wrong people, going out and drinking and driving, and getting a DUI. These are all things that young people don't know how to decipher from, of like, hey, is this worth the consequences if I do it?
Right.
I think if we instill what we can to our younger people, which I think a lot of adults that I've talked to, they're like, I don't have time for fitness, I want to spend time with my kids. That's all great, but like with me and my son, we have time for fitness, and we have
Yeah.
time for our fun time. And teaching them early in life that this is a part of life, it's going to be a huge game changer for them from 18 to 30, so they're not 35 and like, oh shit, now I need to figure this out. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, it's really important for us to do our job as men. And back in the day, people cared about their last name. Hey, I want to have reputable last name. Where
Yeah.
did that go? A lot of people don't care about that anymore. And so, a part of my journey, the little intuition I have in my head, it's telling me, hey, get back to our youth, give back. Even if I can change just one or two or three kids' life that didn't have a dad to help navigate those
Mm,
those decision making, I'll feel fulfilled. Where, who cares if I'm making money, if I feel like at the end of the day I'm making a difference in this world, and I have
right.
people watching to me like, hey man, you just said a couple words to me that gave me that tick that drove me to be in the NFL or into,
Yeah,
all these different great things that are out there. I wanted to be in the NFL, but a little thing in my head told me I couldn't make it and I dropped out. Well, I want to be that dad now that I can work with my son in the groups and teach them to not give up. That
yeah.
really the doors can open. Sometimes great things take time,
Bro, you said a lot of great things there, and I love the fact that you want to work with kids because
hmm
I'll just say it to like on my end as a father, and then as when I was growing up, I
hmm
wasn't really around my father, my dad, so he never really taught me a lot of stuff about life. I had
Yeah.
to figure this out on my own, and thankfully, I made the right decisions as a young adult getting to
hmm
where I am today. And so I see the importance of having that figure, whether you're a
hmm
mentor or a coach,
hmm
or a fitness instructor, right? Having
hmm
that somebody around you that can help and mold you think differently if you're as a younger generation. And my son, actually, he just turned, I believe, I'm so bad, at 14, I think he's 14 now.
Yeah.
um Freshman
Hey,
in high school.
life moves quick. And next thing you
Bro,
know, 4 years,
yeah.
and that's why it's early to start this early because before you know
Well,
it, you're 45 and you have no retirement.
well,
And that's
so
reality.
it's exactly a reality. And so I told myself, man, like I never had this growing up. I was away. I was in the military, and I was away for 6 years, in and out of my son's life. Not being there. 6 years is a long time, and so
Yeah.
academically he was great. He was doing really good, but health wise, he was ice cream, chips, soda, cakes all throughout the
Yeah.
day, and then big meals too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I finally came home and then got back, I started mentoring him and then changing his lifestyle, his mindset
Mhm.
to not be a follower, to start leading people.
Yeah.
So I started doing that about 2.5 years ago when I came back home, or three. But now, and he was big, dude. He's like,
Yeah.
like a kid. He was a cute kid, but he was out
Right.
of shape. And I
Right.
told him, dude, you're the way you're eating, the way you're just playing video games, all throughout the day, like that's gonna like hurt you in the long run as you get
Sure.
older. So I
Yeah.
started showing him pictures. This is bad stuff. Like I started showing him pictures of like, some really big guys that are having
Yeah.
breathing problems, can't even walk up the stairs. I said, this is what's
Yeah.
going to happen. If you continue
Yeah.
on with this lifestyle, with your eating habits and everything else, this
Mhm.
can happen to you.
Yeah.
But having somebody like that, a father figure or a mentor, changed this kid's outlook in life and fitness specifically as well.
Yeah.
So he lost 40 pounds, bro, like on his
Mhm.
own. Like after we had that talk, he started eating right. He took out
Mhm.
sodas, sugar, cakes, and everything else. Started running, started going to the gym, all of
Right.
that stuff. So now he's 14 years old. Um, he is a freshman, and he's doing cross country. And
Nice.
now he was the last one when he started doing this as in the middle school. He was
Uh-huh.
the last kid to finish the race.
Right.
Now, bro, he's a freshman but varsity.
Yeah.
So it's so
Well, and
cool
that's the
how.
thing too is like
Yep.
what we got to teach these kids is you might not
Hmm.
come in first every time, but you
Yep.
have to work with the best to be the best. It's all about like
Exactly.
what Legion of Gains stands for is not just fitness; it's gains in every aspect of your life.
Life.
And
Yeah.
fitness is the biggest part of having that champion mindset,
Hell
willing to
yeah.
put yourself up against somebody that might beat you, but at the end of the day, it's all about personal development, and you're only really competing against yourself. But you use
Correct.
those other people. Like I run every Sunday now, in the
Nice.
morning, and these guys are, I'm pretty jacked. I'm a big dude. A lot of big
Yeah.
dudes run, but I always
Don't,
think, hey, what I'm doing this for is not appearance necessarily. I want to be
yeah.
that badass dad that, hey, if the shit hits the fan, all this stuff talking about people are going to invade, the US and this and that and things that could happen. I'm just like, yo, all I can do is what I can work on myself. And if
Right.
something hits the fan, I want to be able to run 2, 3, 4 fucking miles, just, get out of here. And so, sorry to
Yeah.
cuss on you, but
Oh no, you're good, bro. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but I want to be able to take off and feel great. And and that's what I'm doing. But that thing
Nice,
teaches me that, hey, when I went out there the first time, I came in like sixth. The last run I just did, I came in first. I did a little bit
dude.
shorter of a track, but it was like
Yeah,
more fast speed, because 5 miles
nice.
you kind of conserve that energy until that last
Right,
strip. But like when you're doing
right.
3 miles, then you're more of a straight sprint down, straight sprint back,
Yeah,
straight sprint back. And so what this last time, this guy was like right there, and I kind of kept trailing him until we got back to the last two stretches. This first stretch, I get right up a little bit closer on him, and then that
nice.
last stretch, I was just like, go. And I remember just hitting the gas, and I didn't think I had any more in the tank, but my legs just start firing off, and I just right out and just boop boop boop, and I could tell, it kind of killed him. But I
Yeah,
bet you money next week he's going to be back out there again, trying to beat me. So
right.
that
Yeah, yeah,
at the end of the day, you use these little things not to like have some big old ego. Oh, I just beat this guy, but you use those things to elevate yourself to the next level. And
yeah,
that's why I love fitness. Is like I'm not worried about if this guy is bigger. I'm just worried about how great I look, and I'm very happy with all the transformation. One thing I want to
dude.
tap on
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
is one of the things that really fitness was able to do for me, and I think a lot of people don't mention it because on certain channels you don't want to talk about men or women, or I don't like to put any shade on anybody, but a
yeah.
lot of men go through toxic relationships because we don't use our head. That when you go out to the bar and you find women, you're finding people that don't necessarily care as much as their physical appearance. They don't care about their self a lot to keep their self away from putting toxic drinking into their body,
Right.
and knowing that could make them make bad decisions. And so one of those things that fitness helped me do is stay out of the bars, stay out of just wasting dormant time.
Yeah.
And then now I'm so busy, I really have been able to get myself out of a toxic relationship where now I'm in a very healthy relationship. And I think that's
That's
what a
good,
lot of
man.
people have to understand when you get into the fitness gym and you get around fitness world, you meet a lot of healthy people that don't really
Yes.
look at you like, hey, this guy could be a come up, or oh, this guy,
Hmm.
I want his money, or there's not that side agenda as much as like these people are just in there trying to be the best version of themselves, and if they can throw you a bone or help you out a little bit, they will. Just like you did. Now you're opening another door for me to get my journey out there, and who knows what's going to happen. And I don't do anything anymore to get something. I just do it if I have the time. If it feels impelling for me to do it, then I do it. But back in the day, I was forced to do all these things I didn't want to do. I was in a relationship and felt stuck and forced
Gotcha.
to have to play by her rules, and all these things. Now me and my new partner,
Yeah.
me and her work out together. We
That's
barely ever
cool.
argue, and if we do, we're used to pushing each other in the gym, so the words don't come off so harsh. We know that we're all about the best interest for each other. So if I get a little aggressive on her in the gym, she kind of just snaps up, and then later she'll be thanking me like, hey, you really
Yeah.
pushed me through that last step, or you made me focus, because sometimes women don't take it as serious as us, right? And so now she feels like she wants to do extra things for me. She wants to cook for me. She doesn't have to all the time, but
Right.
she
Right.
always does. I never used to cook for my last dude, but with you, like I like to do it. So like
That's so
just keep in
awesome.
mind, with fitness you can really elevate so many other things than just your physical appearance. You're going to elevate things with your relationship, maybe getting a more beautiful woman. You might get a woman that's more for you instead of for her. There's just so many different things. Also with your job, you might get that next position or that promotion just because people say, "Damn, that guy really cares about his life. He's like on point," and that's all those things that business owners are looking for. They're trying to watch those things that you don't really think they're watching, but how you carry yourself is such a big thing. And when you care about yourself, people are going to care about you.
Absolutely correct, bro. You have some amazing uh, content topics that you're putting out here, man. And I'm
Yep.
glad that actually offline we mentioned about your podcast that you started as well. I think that's a great idea to put your brand awareness more. for people to see. And the fact of the matter is that you also want to mentor these younger generation. I think
yeah,
it's amazing. Is, as you stated, it's not just about the money, but
yeah,
uh, having an impact in somebody's life. That's something that I value a lot as well. Like for me,
yeah.
seeing other success uh, like gives me a lot of like internal like joy and happiness because
Right, a
you
joy,
know
yeah, and that's the
seeing,
thing.
yeah.
I come from a really good like background and upbringing. My mom really
Mhm.
cared about my life. As far as like my dad wasn't there, but my mom really
Yeah,
cared about my education. I wasn't always super book smart, but I had somebody that cared, and that kind of always put that the good morals in me. And I feel like a lot of those, around 90, a lot of those morals started to decline from different things like music, just pushing so much garbage out there to younger people. And we have to really be careful what we let ourselves watch and be a part of. People watching TV and all these different things. One thing I want to chime in on is one thing that really was a big changer to me was I had a barber.
mm,
This barber was so cool. I've known him for so many years, and he was a really good guy. He was in the, he cared about the community. He cared about the younger people. He used to do free cuts for back to school. He was a
that's cool.
very great person. Every time we went
Yeah,
somebody, it would almost annoy me because he would meet, like he would always be talking to people or knowing somebody. We would
right.
go in the gas station for 2 minutes. Next thing you know, we're talking to somebody for 30 minutes. But one thing it taught me is like, I always cared about work and making money and try to be successful in my job. And one thing, when he actually ended up passing away, and rest in peace to him.
Mm,
I miss him all the time because he was one of those guys I could always call, and he would give me that motivational, like always find that silver lining. And he would always like wouldn't let me talk negative or be super like down on myself. He would always be like, come on, man, look at the blessings that we got. And he ended
I
up
like
passing
that.
away, and left a couple kids, man. And I think about it all the
Mm,
time because
wow.
I'm like on the car lot, and I care about selling as many cars as I can, and they've kind of instilled that in me, right? And I always look back and I'm like, man, I don't want to be the guy that dies on the car lot. They always talk about
Mm.
guys like you're gonna die on the car lot. And I just a
Is it,
lot of the things that I seen when he passed away, he had so many people come out and support, or not support, but it was just crazy to see so many people come out and see how many lives that he changed, because obviously the conversations he had with people were important to them, or they wouldn't have showed up. People don't go anywhere or to
yeah.
anything anymore, really, unless if it's like super cool, like a concert or a fair or something like that. I mean, they had it in a parking lot, and they like filled up the whole parking lot. There were so many people out there, for his memorial, and it just really,
Wow.
was big for me. I was like, dude, I got to make a difference in this world. I can't just sell cars and worry about making money. I gotta do something that's gonna help change lives, and be like him. When I pass away, I have people that actually know me and know my story and know what I've done. And that's a big part that I think people got to realize, is that you want to leave this world and leave a mark
Mm,
on people. And that's what I'm working on right now with fitness, is just showing people like, hey, you might not have a dad, but there are guys out there, good mentors. I had good stepdads, that instilled certain things in me that
that's
make
cool.
me be or care about being one of the best,
That's
or
so
having
cool,
that
bro.
champion mindset.
Yeah, yeah. I'm all about that, man. Just being a person that could uh, change somebody's life for the better.
Yeah,
I do it not necessarily in the fitness world, but just more of
yeah,
like just in life in general.
mhm,
I tend to do a lot of. I'm a business coach and advisor, but I tend
mhm,
to also do a lot of like life coaching.
yeah,
Because I'm a lot older than some people, and then especially the younger generation. I'm like, hey,
right,
um, if I tell them like, don't make the same mistakes that most guys do in their 20s, which is
yeah,
party, throw their life away, and just have
yeah,
fun. Don't build anything.
yeah,
So I always tell them like, hey, do good in school. If I could take it back, I'll do great in school.
right,
I'll definitely be at the gym, and
yeah,
I'll continuously like read books that's gonna help my personal development and all of that stuff. So I
right,
always tell these kids, my son, and also I have a daughter as well. and I tell her the same thing, and her friends, you know. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
pretty cool, man.
and eating is huge too, because eating is not only about appearance, it's also about your
Right.
health. There was so many,
Absolutely.
I mean, years and years I was eating fast food. I was making good money,
Mm.
so I would eat out every day, and I started getting really bad gut health. And it
Hmm.
wasn't only like, about trying to look better. It was more or less trying to not have so many problems with my stomach.
Yeah.
And that's reality. A lot of guys get older, and all that grease and all this processed food, you don't know how it's going
Yeah.
to affect you, and you don't want to be 30 and 40 trying to figure out your fitness because your health and your life is depending on it. You want to
Right.
already build all this stuff, and stay away from the fattening foods, and learn how to, even if you're not trying to be a big old bodybuilder or be jacked, just being lean and being healthy, having a little bit of biceps, some, you want to be able to protect your woman if you're out in the streets and something bad happens. You want to be able to have some muscles so you can carry yourself well. But I think
And
it's so
women,
important.
yeah, women love that too, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. I mean, every woman wants a somebody to defend them and be able to
Feel
protect them if something
protected.
bad
Yep.
happens. Yep, and feel safe with you. My girl always tells me, like, I love laying in your arms just because you make me feel so safe. But she
Safe.
knows,
Yeah.
like, the one thing about a woman that is a good woman, she wants to see a man always wanting better for himself. And what a
Right.
lot of guys don't realize is a lot of men, life isn't really life until you find somebody that real love connection.
Oh, yes.
There's those relationships you only get like once in your life, and you want to be prepared for that relationship. You want to be able to keep them ticking for you. And the reason I think that I do that for my girl is I push her. I push her to, she's always seeing me doing these podcasts. She's always seeing me getting up early. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm already working 5 days a week, and then I work both on my two
Yeah.
days off on my own business.
On
And
the
she's
weekends.
yeah, she's just
Yeah.
like, she sees me keep driving, and that's gonna, help her want to stay here, and see the
Yeah.
development, see the end of the story. And there's no way to control a woman into wanting to be with you. The only way is to make her internally want that. And when you're on to bigger and better things every month, they're gonna want to stay around. I don't really have to worry about, is she gonna want to be with me, is she gonna cheat on me, is she gonna go find somebody
Yeah.
else. I don't worry about that stuff anymore, because if she leaves the story, then that's on her. I guess I'll hopefully see her at the top, but I know where I'm going. And at
Love
the
that.
end of the day, even if I don't reach the top, I'll change lives on the way there. And if something happens to me, I'll be able to rest in peace. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the biggest part of my story, is that I'm not doing this because of any type of money, but I'm doing it, because when my time is done, I want to be able to instill some things on people that will look back and be like, damn, that was a good dude. That was a
Yeah.
solid guy.
No,
So
respect to you, bro. Um, Shifting to content creation,
yeah,
you're very
yep,
very active. Uh, promoting the brand and just
mhm,
um, basically putting out fitness content, which is
yeah,
pretty dope.
hmm,
People, I personally, I do follow certain fitness people like you because it helps me stay focused and to keep that in the back of my mind that hey, I gotta stay healthy, I gotta stay in shape,
hmm,
especially as you get older. Your body's not as good as it was before, so it's
hmm,
more important that way. I didn't want to be, I don't want to be one of those guys that are in my 40s that are just like completely let go because you don't
hmm,
have to. You could be in your 40s and still look sharp, look
yeah.
clean, look healthy, look fit, and everything else. Your content, obviously, the content that you create, like what inspired you to start creating, content like that? Is it more for the brand or it's a mixture of like, all right, just inspire, want to inspire people at the same time?
Well, so a lot of mine has been development over time. I didn't go into this with kind of like a business plan, right? I just
Mhm.
started, people were asking me, what are you doing to get so lean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things out there that, I promote, and there's things I don't promote. There's a lot of things that people, like steroids, just to
Hmm.
chime in on that, or shed light. There's a lot of people that are, showing all this content, these people is super jacked and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
teaching a lot of our younger population that, you use these enhancements to get where you need to go. And I want to change the narrative on that. I'm all about positivity and healthy habits. And A lot of that stuff's not needed. You got to remember your body can do a lot um, without all that stuff, but there is a lot of stuff out there too that you can find out that's not a steroid, and
Right.
that enhance you. You know, a lot of people always that, well, man, I'm having trouble staying in it. I was like, the reason why you're having trouble staying in it is you're not doing the proper things to get the results that's going to have you looking in the mirror like, oh shit, I'm looking good. I want more. I
Yeah.
want more. And that's what drives me is, I'm focused on making sure I get my water in. I make sure I, do the different supplements that are healthy, that are going to help me get the gains. And back in the day, we didn't have a lot of the things that we do now. So I just,
Right.
anybody that wants to have the type of lifestyle I do, I just recommend do the research. Reach out to people. There's a lot of good coaches out there that know 10 times more than me. I learn a lot of my stuff by just brushing shoulders with people because in my line of work,
So
I'm
excited.
really, I mean, I'm super good at sparking up conversation, and next thing I know, I have a friend, and they're telling
Yeah.
me everything, so
No,
it's like,
that's
and I'm even trying to, have that. I'm finding that coach that is, I'm talking to a couple guys right now that are going to help me elevate. So you always have to remember that there's always more and more that you can do to get more and more results out of it. But that's another reason why I'm in this is just trying to teach the younger population. Don't start doing steroids at 25 years old.
oh
I mean,
yeah.
the get back to the basics, like they always say, and learn how to get the routine, learn how to maximize your days, and you don't necessarily have to be all big and jacked
Right.
to have these doors open for you. A lot of it's just, like you said, fitness, wellness, health, all these different things. There's more to it than just fitness. It's also about all the other gains in your life that you're gonna get from living this type of lifestyle.
And nutrition is a big part of that, right? I hear, um, I forget where I read it, where it says like 70% or 70-80% is nutrition, like the way you
Yeah,
eat, what you put in your body, and the
yeah,
20-30% is basically like fitness,
yeah.
cardio, things like that.
Yeah, there's no way. One thing that you have to remember is you can't target fat. So if you're trying to get abs, you can't target that area and burn
Hmm.
that fat. You know what I mean? You can do crunches to build the muscle up so it might
Yeah.
poke through a little bit more, but to really get the fat down,
Yeah.
um, you have to learn how to eat right. And that's why I said learning how to cook for yourself is so important. The reason why I
Yeah.
also say that is growing up, from 18 to like my current relationship, I always had women that cook for me.
Yeah.
Well, learning how to cook for yourself and know how to cook healthy food
Yeah.
is going to keep them from feeling like your mom cooking for you, and that keeps that relationship healthy. No woman wants to feel like that you're your child, and so that's a big thing to focus on is learning how to cook for yourself, learning different meals. It's fun. We have a great time doing it. A lot of the
That's
times we're like, what are we going to cook tonight? And then we make it a fun thing instead of a chore like, oh, we got to cook
yeah.
dinner. No,
Yeah.
we come
Yeah.
up with new recipes. There's all this new healthy shit out on the market that you can try this, try that, and sometimes you'll be like, damn, this is super good. And
Yeah.
we're having fun with that part of it. It creates that healthy vibe between me and her. So we're like, hey, are we gonna make that one plate we made last week? And again, creating that schedule where you guys write it down, like, hey, Mondays we do this, Tuesdays we do this, Wednesday's an off day, Thursday's a podcast day. I mean, then you're really working in congruent with your partner,
Right.
and just the sky's the limit for how happy you can be, the true happiness of life. And I'm trying to teach
Absolutely.
people how to
Absolutely,
find
bro.
that.
That's the dude. I feel like you're gonna build something so big that with Legion of Gains, you just started your journey. I know
Yep,
how difficult it could be, especially when you're balancing your what pays the bills currently, right?
yep,
And then doing that, but uh,
yep,
with I see that you have a vision with your
yep,
brand, with how you want to help others, and I definitely commend you for that, man. I do want to. We've covered a lot of great things. You've
yep,
provided us a lot of good golden nuggets, so thank you for
yep,
that, Devin. Last question for our viewers and listeners, man. Like, you know, if you're talking to somebody who's maybe not you know somebody who's not getting up and going to the gym or eating right, and they're just wasting away, man. Like, I feel like I'm if they're watching this, man, like,
Mhm.
Like look at the camera and tell them like what would be your best advice to them.
Yeah. I mean, you're worth it, man. You only get one chance at this, and you have to realize that, God put you on this earth for a reason. Everybody has a reason to be here. Everybody has a blueprint. We all have to do our part. I have military people come into my dealership all the time and they say, "Hey, do you have a military discount?" And we say, "No, we don't have a designated military discount for just you guys because we want to give everybody a great deal, and,
Yeah.
and everybody is in this fight together some way, somehow, and
Yeah.
it takes everybody in America to really make us, um, that country that everybody, there's a reason why everybody's trying to come here. you know
True.
there's really, you can have that true American dream, and it's not just false. Like, you just have to figure out that you are worth it. You have to start putting those pennies in the barrel, and eventually that's going to overflow with great things. And it is true, and I'm a true testament to that. I was in a whole different place 3 years ago, fighting with a different woman every single night,
Mm.
long arguments, just trying to go over things that are unhealthy. And I can't say it enough. Just take the first steps. Take the first steps to put that one workout in there, then the second
Mm.
workout in there. And even if it's a couple times a week, it's going to get better and better. And you're going to really see the different changes and great gains that you'll get from just figuring out a routine and going to be able to burn off that stress and get off all that negativity in the gym. It's going to be a game changer for you. It really is.
Dude, amazing, man. Thank you for that. I I I know you're building a lot of different things,
Hmm.
and I'm actually quite excited with the app that you mentioned that you're building and putting together. I think that's going to be huge, and
Yeah.
obviously, like Legion of Games, where do you see it in the next 3 to 5 years? What do you envision the
Three
business
to 5 years, I
is?
got that for you. 3 to 5 years, I honestly, so the next thing I'll be doing is, I kind of shed a little light on it, but we're going to be doing a performance for strength, agility, and speed. I want to get into it a little bit differently because there's only so many people out there that want to be real bodybuilders and do what it
Yeah.
takes. That's my personal goal, is to, compete one day on stage. But I want to make a
Wow.
Yeah, I want to make a program one day that is more designed for everybody. You know what I mean? It's going to be for the regular average guy that just wants to see some little bit of better agility, a little bit of better speed. You want to be able
Yeah.
to feel great again. I see these older guys out here. I got to show you this area that I just moved to,
Yeah.
but
Let's see
it's
it.
right is right
Oh
down on the
wow.
water, and it's the perfect place to run. There's about 5 mile strip there, and
Oh
it's
man.
I mean, it's amazing. And you see these older guys out there, and it almost feels like they're alive again.
Yeah.
And I want to create a program that's mainly designed for younger guys trying to be athletes and get to that next level of competing either in the NFL or NBA or all those things, because I want to see those guys strive and grow, and I want to be with them along the journey, and try to add whatever I can. I have free time because I've put a lot of time in building my wealth, with car sales, but now I have some time to be able to give back, and I want to create a system that's for younger guys or older guys that just want to get their agility back. Want to be able
Heck
to
yeah.
jump again, run again, feel good again. Where all those other things in their life, when you're feeling on point and you got those good vibes, you have those little conversations, and then those doors open. You could meet a guy that changes your life. You could
Yeah.
meet a woman that changes your life. The thing about America is the opportunities are endless,
Yes,
right? But we
sir.
got to put ourselves out there and be our best version, so people are receptive to what you're looking to accomplish.
Awesome, awesome, bro. Well, Devin, this was fun, man.
Yeah.
It went by super quick, bro. But nonetheless, it's great hearing from you. I appreciate you taking the time off and join us on the podcast. And
Absolutely,
I
man.
definitely will be continuing to follow your journey,
Yeah.
especially in business. And for the people that are listening, the people that are watching, follow him. Legion of Gains, Devin. Thank you so much. Real Talks podcast. We'll see you again to the next episode. Take care,
Yes, sir.
guys.
Legion of Gains. Let's go.